Hello, everyone, and welcome to my presentation on human performance technology and its impact on online learning outcomes. My name is Darren Waters, and today I'll be walking you through how human performance technology, or HPT, can significantly improve outcomes in online learning environments. HPT is more than just improving performance, it's really about creating an environment where learners can thrive by addressing the challenges that they face. We'll discuss key models of HPT, such as Gilbert's behavior engineering model, explore technology driven interventions like learning analytics, and review real world applications of HPT principles. By the end of this presentation, I hope you'll have a clear understanding of how HPT can help us close performance gaps in education and enhance student success. This presentation will also draw on current research and case studies to highlight the tangible improvements HPT brings to online education. Let me give you an overview of what we'll be covering today. First, I'll introduce human performance technology, or as I said earlier, HPT, and explain why it's a critical framework for improving online learning environments. HPT has been widely applied across industries, but its relevance in education, particularly online learning, is growing. We'll discuss the specific challenges the students face in virtual classrooms and how HPT can address them. Then we'll dive into some of the key HPT models like Gilbert's behavior engineering model, which provides a structured approach to identifying and addressing performance gaps. I'll also discuss how technology driven interventions such as real time feedback and data analytics can enhance learning outcomes by providing timely support and insight into learner progress. We'll explore the importance of continuous evaluation and how that plays a crucial role in refining teaching strategies. I'll also share case studies from both academic and corporate settings to illustrate how HPT principles are being applied successfully. Finally, we'll discuss the challenges unique to online learning and how HPT provides solutions to overcome these barriers. So, what exactly is human performance technology? Well, at its core, HPT is a systematic approach focused on improving performance by identifying gaps and designing evidence based, results oriented interventions. What sets HPT apart from other instructional models is its holistic view. It doesn't just focus on the learner, but also takes into account the broader environment in which learning happens, as according to O'Driscoll in 2015. This is particularly important in online learning environments where factors like technology access, learner isolation, and the design of instructional materials play a huge role in learner success. According to Serprato et al., HPT is a tool that can be used to enhance not just individual performance, but also the broader organizational culture, which is essential for fostering a supportive learning environment. When applied to education, HPT helps us identify specific obstacles, such as a lack of engagement, ineffective instructional design, or poor feedback loops, and implement targeted solutions that improve both student outcomes and the instructor effectiveness. Now, I want to emphasize that HPT is grounded in research and evidence. It's a discipline that draws from psychology, education, and performance sciences to develop interventions that are not only practical but proven to work. By understanding both the learner and their environment, we can create educational experiences that are supportive, adaptive, and responsive to the needs of individual students. Human performance technology has undergone significant evolution over the past several decades. It's essential to understand how this evolution has shaped the way HBT is applied in online learning environments today, especially when focusing on outcomes. By tracing its roots, we can better grasp why such a powerful tool for improving learning outcomes and closing performance gaps in education. HPT originated from the field of behavioral psychology in the 20th century by drawing heavily from the works of scholars like B.F. Skinner, whose research on operant conditioning, which emphasized behavior modifications through reinforcement and feedback, laid the groundwork for HPT interventions, according to O'Driscoll in 2015. The industrial boom of the 1950s further solidified the need for systems that could not only train workers, but also improve overall organizational performance and productivity. O'Driscoll explains that this was a time when the responsibilities of corporate training expanded beyond simple skills development, incorporating employee communication, morale, and even organizational culture. So during the 60s and 70s, HBT began to take shape as a distinct field. Early on, its focus was on performance improvement in corporate and industrial settings. However, as the field grew, practitioners realized that HBT could be applied into a variety of contexts, including education. This is where the interdisciplinary nature of HPT began to flourish. Fields like instructional design, psychology, human resource management, and educational technology started converge, bringing new perspectives and methodologies to HPT, as according to King and Molenda in 2018. This result was a more holistic view of performance that included not only the individual learner, but also the environment in which they were operating. The idea of systemic improvement, where individual and organizational outcomes are addressed simultaneously, became one of HBT's defining features. So by the 90s, scholars like Stolovich and Keeps were refining HBT into a more structured, systematic discipline systemic, sorry, emphasized that HPT was grounded in scientifically derived theories and the best available empirical evidence. This ensured that HPT interventions were not only practical, but also research driven, as was stated in the research by Stolovich and Keeps in 1999, which was cited in O'Driscoll 2015. One of the key ideas emerged from the period was a notion that HPT is a technology in its truest sense of the word and a tool for applying scientific knowledge to solve practical problems. This systematized approach ensured that HPT could be adapted to any context, whether industrial, corporate, or educational. So now, HBT has evolved to meet the demands of the digital age. The rise of online learning environments has presented many new challenges. Students are more dispersed, technology is more integral, and the learning process itself is more dynamic. This is where the evolution of HBT is particularly relevant to our focus on educational outcomes, specific in the online learning environment. These HPT interventions incorporate real-time feedback, learning analytics, and digital tools like learning management systems to address the unique challenges of online education. For example, learning analytics allows us to continuously monitor student engagement and performance, providing immediate data to inform and make adjustments in instructions and supports, which we'll talk more as we go on through this presentation. But one of the most critical shifts in the evolution of HPT is its move towards outcome-based approaches. Early HPT models focused heavily on improving efficiency, productivity, but now we focus on measurable outcomes, whether that's learner satisfaction, skill acquisition, or the overall academic achievement. This shift aligns with the goals of online education, where performance can often be difficult to track due to the remote and asynchronous nature of learning. HPT's ability to provide clear, data-driven insights in both individual and group performance is really what makes it so valuable in today's online learning landscape. So what we're going to do is look at HPT and how it provides a structured, adaptable, and grounded framework for improving outcomes in the learning environment, as we're going to lay out in the rest of this presentation. One of the foundational models in HPT is Gilbert's Behavior Engineering Model, or BEM. This model is particularly effective in identifying both environmental and individual factors that contribute to performance gaps. In an online learning setting, BEM helps us understand how factors such as technology access, learner motivation, and the design of learning platforms can impact student success, as shown in the study by Giacomo and Bremen in 2020. Students are disengaged. For example, students are disengaged. BM prompts us to ask, is it because of the content or is it due to the environment in which they are learning? By looking at both, we can design an intervention or interventions that address the root cause of the actual problem. A practical example of this model in action can be seen in Richardson's et al.'s research in 2022, the Portal project, where BEM was used to create a digital repository designed to support online instructors. This project focused on the challenges instructors faced when teaching online, such as a lack of resources or familiarity with technology. Now, by identifying these gaps, the repository provided targeted resources that improve not only the instructor's teaching practices, but also the students' learning experiences. This is the strength of HPT. It provides a framework for understanding the problem at both the individual and the systemic levels, and it helps create solutions that are scalable and sustainable. Let's talk about technology. Okay, technology is one of the key drivers of performance improvement in online learning environments. And HPT leverages technology in a way that enhances outcomes. One of the most impactful interventions is real-time feedback. Learning management systems, like the one explored in Powers and Moore's study in 2022, allow for the immediate feedback, enabling students to correct mistakes and adjust their learning strategies in real time. This type of intervention keeps learners engaged and motivated as they can see their progress and understand where they need to improve. But it's not just about giving feedback, it's about giving the right kind of feedback at the right time. Okay, so another powerful tool is, of course, learning analytics, which allows instructors to gather data on student performance and engagement. This can be used to identify patterns such as which students are struggling or which parts of the course are causing confusion. By using learning analytics, instructors can tailor their teaching strategies to meet the specific needs of their students. As Lai et al. In 2022 explained, learning analytics provide such like a roadmap for continuous improvement by showing us what's working and what's not. This data-driven approach is essential for creating personalized learning experiences that really lead to overall better outcomes. So, continuous evaluation. Continuous evaluation is a cornerstone of human performance technology. It's really not enough to just implement an intervention. We need to constantly monitor its effectiveness and make adjustments as needed. This is particularly important in our online learning environment, where the needs of students can change rapidly. For example, in Soprato et al. In 2022, showed that in industrial settings, continuous evaluation was a key element to improving organizational culture and safety performance. The same principle can be applied to education by continuously collecting and analyzing performance data. We can make real-time adjustments that keep students engaged and ensure they are on track to meet their overall learning goals. So this sort of repetitive process is really what makes HPT so powerful and impactful. By continually refining our strategies based on data, we can create a learning environment that is dynamic and responsive to the actual specific needs of our students. This kind of adaptive learning is critical in online learning environments, where students often face challenges such as isolation and an overall lack of motivation. Continuous evaluation allows us to identify these issues early and then implement solutions before they actually become a major obstacle. So once again, the evaluation aspect of HPT is one of the most crucial elements. It's not enough to simply design and implement interventions. We need to continuously evaluate its effectiveness, right? To ensure that they're meeting the intended outcomes. So evaluating interventions helps us understand what's working, what's not, what adjustments need to be made. So there are two primary types of evaluations in HPT. You have formative and summative. Formative evaluations occur during the development of the intervention. They really allow us to make adjustments before the final product is deployed, which is particularly important in online learning environments where flexibility is key, as noted in Flena and Stefaniak in 2020. These evaluations are like taking the temperature as you go, ensuring that interventions are on track to meet the performance goals. Summative evaluations, on the other hand, occur after the intervention has been implemented. They assess the overall impact of the intervention on performance and learning outcomes. This is where we really look at the big picture during the intervention. So, did the intervention actually close the performance gap it set out to address? For example, in Lai et al. 2022, they highlight that summative evaluations can look at student success rates, engagement levels, and even long-term retention skills. Data-driven evaluation is really what makes HBT interventions particularly useful. With the use of modern tools like learning analytics, we can continuously collect data on learner engagement, participation, and outcomes. This data allows us to refine and improve interventions in real time. For instance, if we look at analytics, we can see how that a large percentage of students are struggling with a particular model. Instructors can adjust the content or offer additional support, ensuring that no learner is really left behind. Finally, evaluation isn't just about ensuring that interventions work for the current group of learners, it's also about the long-term improvement. By collecting and analyzing data over time, we can apply lessons learned to future interventions. This cycle of designing, evaluating, refining interventions leads to continuous improvement in performance, which is at the heart of HBT. So let's take a look at a couple of the case studies that illustrate the real-world application of HBT in online learning environments. The first case study comes from Richardson et al., who used HPT principles to develop a portal digital repository for online teaching. As we've previously discussed, this project was designed to help instructors who are new to online teaching by providing them with resources and tools that address common challenges, such as technology and integration and instructional design. By using a design-based research approach, the team was able to continuously refine the repository based on the feedback from its users, ensuring that it met the needs of both instructors and students. The result was a resource that significantly improved teaching and learning outcomes. Another example comes from Giacomo and Bremen's research in 2020, in which they looked at corporate training. In this case, HPT was applied to redesign a learning program for a large organization. The team used HPT models to analyze the performance gaps and design interventions that address both individual and organizational needs. The result was a more effective training program that led to higher employee performance and engagement, which led to overall success. These case studies show that when HPT is applied, whether in the academic or the corporate settings, it leads to a measurable improvement in overall performance and thus outcomes. Online learning presents a unique set of challenges that can significantly impact performance. One of the most prevalent issues is technological literacy. Students may not always be comfortable using the tools required to fully engage in online courses. Research by Lai et al. In 2022 highlighted how students with lower technological proficiency often struggle with tasks like navigating the learning management systems or using digital collaboration tools, which in turn affects their abilities to be successful. Another key and challenge is engagement. Without the in-person interaction and immediate feedback found in the traditional face-to-face classroom settings, online students can easily feel disconnected and isolated. This leads to lower participation rates, decreased motivation, and unfortunately, ultimately, poor learning outcomes. Once again, Njikamo and Bremen in 2020 found that students in virtual settings often struggle with staying on task. specifically when online courses lacked an engaging interactive content. But here's where HBT comes in. By continuously evaluating students' performances and engagement, we can identify those who are struggling early on. For example, the use of learning analytics allows instructors to monitor real-time data on students' participation and success. When issues are detected in a timely manner, interventions can be enacted, like providing extra resources or adjusting instructional strategies. These few little elements can keep students on track. Furthermore, digital repositories, as we discussed in the Portal project, provide accessible resources to help both the student and the instructors overcome those technological barriers, making learning more intuitive and overall effective. HPT's focus on both the learner and the environment enables us to address these challenges head on, ensuring that all students, regardless of their initial comfort with technology or engagement levels, have the tools and support they need to succeed in this online learning environment. So, in conclusion, human performance technology offers a comprehensive framework for improving online learning outcomes by focusing not only on the individual learner performance, but also on the environment in which the learning is actually occurring. HBT allows us to identify performance gaps at both levels and design targeted interventions to address them. We've seen tools like real time feedback, learning analytics, along with continuous evaluation, create an adaptive and supportive learning environment that overall fosters success. Case studies such as the Portal Project by Richardson et al. In 2022 show the real world application of HPT principles in addressing the challenges faced by instructors and learners in the online environment. Additionally, research by Giacomo and Bremen in 2020 demonstrates how HPT-driven interventions can significantly improve learning outcomes, even in the complex corporate training environments. Overall, the key takeaway here is that HPT equips educators and instructional designers with the tools to create environments where learners are more engaged, motivated, and able to perform at their highest level. In a time when online learning is increasingly the norm, these strategies are essential for closing performance gaps and ensuring that all students have the opportunity to succeed. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn more about HPT and its relationship on educational outcomes in the distance learning educational environment. Here are the references for all the sources I've mentioned throughout this presentation. These studies and articles have contributed to our understanding of how HPT can be applied to improve learning outcomes in these online learning environments. Each provides evidence of the practical applications and benefits of HPT driven interventions. Thank you.